guys, welcome back to Linda's Pantry, where I'm gonna make some sous vide egg bites using fresh asparagus from the garden. And it couldn't be better. I absolutely love this asparagus. Right from the garden, it's fresh, it's delicious. It's sweet, it's not woody. Even the big, thick ones like this, look at the size of that. That is not woody. It's juicy and it's sweet and it's so good. So we're gonna have sous vide asparagus egg bites. Come along and I'll show you how easy it is to make these. I make egg bites every single week now that I have the sous vide machine because I fell in love with Starbucks sous vide eggs. This way I can do them in my container. It holds an egg plus cheese and whatever else you want to add to it. And I take this to work. I pop the lid off, microwave it at 60% power to just warm it through, and voila, I have breakfast. High protein, very healthy, farm fresh eggs. Let's do it. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break eggs. I'm gonna use one of my containers, and these have the snap down lids. Love them. My husband got those online for us, and I didn't think that I would use them all, but I am breaking each egg. I've washed these eggs. I'm breaking each egg individually because I did have one that wasn't good, and I was so glad that I break them first into a separate dish. And we're gonna want 10, so some of these are just as big and beautiful, and they're all beautiful, and they all taste wonderful. I love these dark chocolate brown ones. They don't taste any different, but it makes me happy. So as soon as we get chickens again, you can be sure I'm gonna have to have, oh, I got 2 in that one, okay. And yeah, I want some dark chocolate egg layers. Even these little eggs are just beautiful. So I went out to the garden, I picked some asparagus. I also picked, these are green onion tops from green onion bottoms that I transplanted. I just stick them in the ground, cut them off, stick them in the ground. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think it's got to have 8 in there because I believe when I counted these, I had 11 eggs. My sous vide container fits 10 very easily, and it takes a little bit of time once you get them in there. Now I can fill up my egg container with new eggs, and I'm gonna use this. It isn't gonna hurt anything. Some of the recipes will say to butter your dishes. I've done it both ways, and it doesn't make a difference. So I think I'm gonna be fine with just this cottage cheese. And I'm gonna grab, you want cottage cheese, oh, and you need salt and pepper. But I've also found a trick with the salt and pepper, so I'll share that with you as well. For any of you that are on the fence about a sous vide machine, it's my favorite appliance, other than the air fryer. Number one, so we want about a cup of cottage cheese. You can add as much as you want, but I'm gonna add a healthy cup. Okay. And I got some shenanigans going on here in the kitchen today. So a cup of cottage cheese, and I used to add the salt and pepper in here, but I don't do that anymore. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the Wasmigator on it. And that is the immersion blender's nickname. And I'm trying to think of what kind of cheese I want to go with this, but I actually, asparagus pairs so well with eggs and Swiss cheese and cheddar cheese and I think mozzarella, it would go really, really well, but I think I'm gonna keep it pretty simple. Let me rinse this off real quick and do Swiss cheese only because I feel like, oh, or we could use pepper jack. Pepper jack actually does very well. Okay, I have a dog with, he's riled up. We'll be back. I'm gonna cut up the vegetables and look at this. So out of the same plant, you can get 2 different sizes. They come out of the ground that fat. Doesn't mean they're old, doesn't mean they get fatter. Sometimes they do get a little fatter at the bottom, but it's the same plant. They taste the same. I know we're used to seeing asparagus typically that's right about like that, but all of our vegetables, in my opinion, and this is strictly my opinion, but in my opinion, all of our vegetables are grown for appearance, tough skin so it can make it to market, and not much flavor. So if you've never grown homegrown asparagus, it takes a couple years investment and really investing yourself into making the garden bed absolutely perfect. But once you do, you have asparagus for 20, 30 years. It's just like rhubarb. It'll keep giving. And you just top dress it at the end of the year. But this is so sweet. So good. So good. You need this. We were going back and forth. I love the red peppers in my egg bites, but I literally don't have any red bell peppers. The ones that they had at the store were really tiny, and so I'm using what I have fresh out of the garden, and I'm going to be so happy that I have this in my... And you could put bacon in here or ham. We're not big ham fans, so I'm gonna leave that out and do yum. Okay, and then I'll cut up this. I'm gonna save these, and I wanted to show you. This is how I save. I also picked rhubarb this morning. It's in the sink right now. And I change this water about every day. So fresh, clean water, but when you're storing your rhubarb, leave that end that you pulled away from the stalk and only cut the leaves like that. And it will keep in this container for a couple of weeks. It'll continue to grow actually. So it keeps it fresh. It doesn't get soggy. It doesn't split apart. If you cut both ends off, you're gonna have to take care of it right away. The rhubarb, I clean up the ends, I wash them, and I put them in here, and they stay nice and firm and fresh. This thing was overflowing yesterday with rhubarb. I shared a big bundle with my mother-in-law, and she was so happy. She lit right up. It was great. And we've been having it as a side dish almost every night. So, broiled with a little salt, pepper, and olive oil. It's perfect. All right, and cream of asparagus soup. You guys saw that, didn't you? All right, let me get back to it. Okay, so I also want some other greens. I picked some baby Swiss chard out there while I was out there. It just looked good. And I love having greens in my salads. I love having greens in my eggs. It's pretty, it tastes good, it's giving you more nutrients. And these are so rich and flavorful. It's absolutely wonderful. I'm gonna chop that pretty fine. The veg tend to float because they have air in them, so they float in the eggs, but I don't care. You're dipping down through, right? And I have quartz countertops, so I set the sous vide machine on a small cutting board to get because you're gonna get it up to 168 degrees. You don't necessarily wanna have that on your countertop, but okay, so we're gonna cut off the ends of these onions there. And I'm super excited that we get to use the greens of these onions. I'm just gonna do a little bit. One of us does not care for too much onion flavor, but mostly can't have raw onions because of an allergy. So just have to be mindful. And I'm gonna save this in a bag for my salad, because I have been eating a salad of some sort every single day. Okay, and you think adding all of this, we still have cheese to add. You think adding all of this to that container is so much to eat, but it really isn't. It ends up with 1 egg. So we have 10 eggs in here, which equates at a little over about 3¼ cups of egg. And yum. Okay, next is the cheese. And if you think about it, I have breakfast for 2 people for the whole week. Okay, you can take your eggs and bake them off, and I probably am gonna do that later, and they can get put down into your soil for calcium, or give them back to your chickens, for that matter. All right, let's get to cutting some cheese. Okay, I don't know where I'm gonna cut my cheese at, but we'll scoot everything over a little. There we go. Okay, okay, so it's time to cut this cheese, and get some of this stuff out of my way. Super easy. I think the dog is trying to get in the other room. Anyway, okay, so I've got Swiss cheese here that I need to open a little further. All right. And I'm gonna cut this super easy. I mean, so I've got my pile of veg, my eggs, and then once you get it in the sous vide machine, you just set it and forget it, literally for an hour. And then once they're done, I take them out, and I'll show you. It's critical to take the lids off of these containers. Now I've done them in my little 4-ounce canning jars, but I don't want to, eventually it wears out your rings and your lids and everything else. So I would rather reserve those for actual canning projects. And I said that, and of course someone was listening and went online and bought these. So it's been very, very nice to have them. And it's nice to have portion size. So if I want to take cottage cheese or grapefruit or a small portion of something and keep it small, I put it in here. And then I've got, a nice ½ cup of something, not a cup. So, and then I'm keeping the portions down. So if that is something you are into. Okay, so we got our cheese. I'm super excited about Swiss with this. Okay, then now that I've got everything, let's come in and I'll show you how I fill the jars. Okay, so now I'm gonna take cheese, kind of covering the bottom of each jar, or each container, just evenly. So nobody gets cheated out of any cheese. And if I need to cut more, I'll cut more. I love having cheese in there. It's added protein. It's so good. Oops, that one's gonna be heavy. And I've gotten pretty good at eyeballing what it'll take for 10 containers. And I absolutely, first thing I do is grab my egg bite. I get to work. I put that in the microwave while I'm getting situated. Okay, so we're gonna put a little bit of greens. Again, these greens are gonna cook down. You might have a little bit of liquid in the bottom, but, or not in the, yeah, I guess in the bottom. And we're getting down to the last of the greens. Maybe I'll borrow from Peter over here to pay Paul. And mind you, I didn't have that many greens. It was just a handful. So now we're gonna go with the green onions and greens. I want to reserve the asparagus a little bit. So some of these are going to have more onion flavor than others, but you know, onions, like anything else, get sweeter when you cook them, so it's not a big deal if they're cooked. But raw, nope, that's a no in this house. Okay, I like them raw, but I just keep mine on the side, and when I want to add it to a salad, I do. All right, and then the asparagus down in each, and we're gonna equally divide this, hopefully. I want plenty of veg, and I'm making a huge mess. That's okay. That's what kitchens are for. Make a mess to clean it up. So roughly an eighth of a tablespoon or so of chopped asparagus. It's not an exact recipe, and it's up to you. You could do your egg bites plain. We've done them that way as well. They're good any way you've done them. Our favorite though is with fresh red bell pepper, mushrooms, almost like a Denver omelet, if you will. Okay, so all that big pile is now in the jars. Yay! Okay, we'll get this set aside. Rinse my hands. And look at this. We got this. Okay. Now, aside from what's left on the counter here, we're going to get all these over here so it's a little easier to pour and put the lids on, if that makes sense. Okay. Let's clean that up. Okay. And then I literally am pouring, and I know it's going to end up, you know, air gets in between those veggies, so they're going to bubble, and hopefully you can see that. And release the air in between with the egg mixture going in. And I will also, because I'm a cheesy person, I love to put another little bunch of grated cheddar, like farm style sharp cheddar Tillamook cheese, right on top of this mixture when I microwave it. So now I'm down to equally dividing. Anybody that looks low gets a little bit more. But there you go, 10 eggs, 10 containers. It seems like it's a big, but it's perfect size for breakfast. I mean, you're not too full. I get too full from eggs. They're really rich. So I have to, there we go. And the last little bit, there we go. 10 beautiful egg bites, about ready to go down. Okay, now I'll show you, because I used to put the salt and pepper in the egg mixture, and what happens is it settles, and it's not what I want. So this way, I put the salt and pepper on top, and I like a fair amount of pepper. If you don't like pepper, you don't have to put it in. You don't have to put the salt in either, but I'm a salt and pepper kind of girl. So, same with the salt. Just a pinch of salt for each one. And if you want to salt it when you open them, you can. I don't. I think this is perfect seasoning. And then I like to grab a little something to give it a stir. Just so that salt and pepper is not all in one spot. Now, I eat these right out of the jar, but you can take a butter knife and go around the edges, and they pop right out onto a plate if you needed a better presentation or a different presentation. Not necessarily better, but different. Okay, now I've got it, and I'm gonna get the lids on, and we'll put these in the sous vide container. and we'll get the sous vide machine going. Okay. There you go. All set. All right. Everybody gets a lid. And I have a lid on my sous vide machine. Snap down everything and set it into place. Once it's above the minimum fill line, then I can turn my sous vide machine on and start the process, which is usually right about now. I should be able to plug that in and get it programmed, which is awesome. So programming it, I'll just get you up close here. Program it, you're gonna click here next to your temperature and then up, 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 up. I do it at 168. Whoop, and I went too far. Okay, and then I click over here to the time and it goes by pretty fast. There we go. And then I hit start and start. So you have to hit that arrow twice. Now it's heating up and it's circulating the water inside. So I'm gonna continue putting the lids on here and putting them into the water bath. And it's so quiet. I love this. And there's an app that you can add recipes to the app. You can look up recipes so you know timing. When I do chicken breast in here. I do chicken parts, chicken thighs and legs, and then they're done. And when you get home from work, all you have to do is take them out and put a fast crisp on them, and you've got dinner in 5 minutes because you invested an hour earlier on. And sometimes I'll do a few less egg bites and add something to the water bath. Last time I did that, it was teriyaki chicken, and all I had to do was make some rice, and I had my lunch for the next day. So there's that. Okay, we're gonna get all these in here somehow, some way, and they don't all sit perfectly flat but you can stack them as long as everybody's submerged under the water. The water bath will do the trick. And I would like some other containers that were smaller that I could do, dual egg bites kind of thing. But these are what we have. So this is gonna go as soon as this comes up to temperature, and right now it's at 65.4. So it's moving up pretty fast. The temperature, that was cold water I put in there. So once it comes up to 168, then it'll start the timer countdown and we'll be done. And even if you forget to take them out, they will not overcook. They never get above that temperature. That's the beauty of a sous vide machine. It will never overcook your stuff. Okay, so we are done. The timer has stopped, and I heard it beep, so I unplugged the sous vide machine. And then I gotta get in here and get these out, which is very easy. Your eggs are cooked. You're gonna get these out of that water. And I let the water cool and I water plants with it. It's not dirty because nothing touched it except for clean jars or clean bowls. But I hate just throwing that water out. It bothers me. So I let it cool and I put it on some plants inside the house. It's plant watering day anyhow. And then outside, if I have too much, I'll put it outside as well. So let's get these all in here. And you want to take these lids off right away because they will create a vacuum that you cannot undo. We learned that the hard way the first time I did these. And in these containers, we were like, oh, but they are watertight, so no water gets in while you're cooking the eggs at all. And as you can see, you've got all that green at the top. because these are hot, because the greens float. So it's all good though. Ooh, hot, hot, hot. And then these lids go right in the dishwasher. Some of them have a little pepper on them, you know. Get the rest of these out. And then I have breakfast for the whole week. I will give you a taste test here in just a second, just so you can see. They're absolutely wonderful. It's my favorite breakfast on the planet. That with a delicious jalapeno bagel back there. Yes, yum. All right. I'm gonna let these cool and I'll be back for a taste test. I'll take a bite out of one of them. Okay guys, I am ready to take a taste test. Usually I put some extra cheese on top and put it in the microwave, but I'm just gonna dive in and give you a bite. I wish you were here. And oh, it's still hot. Can you see all the steam coming off that? Okay. Wow, the asparagus has a little bit of a texture. It's tender, crisp, kind of. I mean, it's still got some texture. It's not mushy at all. And the egg is divine. It's souffled. It's beautiful. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And the Swiss cheese at the bottom. It's absolutely wonderful. I do hope that you try it. If you've never had a sous vide egg, try Starbucks. They even sell them now at Costco. They're expensive though. And that's what made our decision to go ahead and buy a sous vide machine, because I love them so much. And look at that. So good. All right. Cheers. I highly recommend them. See you next time. And I hope it inspires you to do maybe egg bites in the oven. They won't be near as fluffy and tender, but they'll be oh so delicious. All right, bye. So I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, I hope you'll subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for some more delicious recipes using fresh ingredients from the garden.